There's something for every imagination at your local comic shop. Visit ComicShopLocator.com to find a store near you.
Hi, I'm Nathan Fox. I'm chair of the MFA Visual Narrative Program at the School of Visual Arts, as well as co-creator and artist on the Weatherman series through Image Comics. And you are watching The Experience.
Hey, there he is. We weren't sure if we were going to have you in.
You got Robbie.
So, yeah, Robbie was having some technical difficulties. I told you, did you kick the router like I told you?
Yeah, I just kicked it and tossed it across the room. That works, right?
Yeah, that always works. I told you.
I tweeted this a couple hours ago that we'd be doing this, so I'm expecting a massive uptick in viewership.
Oh, cool.
I retweeted that. So, yeah.
Dave Cerrone in the house. What's up, Dave?
I saw Dave. I see Ronald up there.
Ron, what's going on? The artist formerly known as Jesse.
Say what? Fair enough.
Station, buddy. Dave is listening live from the comic shop today, digging in dollar bins. Dave, I did get your email today, by the way. I did respond to that, bud. All right, so hopefully I'll know something tomorrow. Lars, man, how you feeling, buddy? Hopefully you're doing good.
Dave is digging through the dollar bins.
Dave is digging through the dollar bins.
Hey, yes. Dave, keep an eye out for an image number 0. I'm looking for it. Okay.
So, all right. So, how was everybody's weekend?
You know, it's funny that you mentioned that because as soon as you said dollar bins, I'm thinking I need like the original Valiant Unity number 3 in blue because they did them in a whole bunch of different colors, right? And I think for some reason, I couldn't find like blue 3. I have it. I think they
Thanks for sharing that with us.
They did a red one, they did a gold one, they did a silver one.
Thanks
we
for
don't even
sharing
have
that
it
with
here,
us,
which
John.
disturbed me.
It's the low print run blue edition.
Yeah, yeah, that stuff was like Jim Shooter ran out of town.
Anybody ever notice John's very much about John? And there's no food today, John. We may have to take this Green Hornet trade paperback right off the shelf.
I like to see the man. There is a bright green book, right? That's the first thing we should be doing, man.
So Dave says, say again, John. All right. So as always, we start off by popular demand. I think it was just Stevie B, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think.
Ryan, what's going on? Yes, I like Dave. I like John's mutton chops as well. So, all right, Dynamite 10-pack reader set, 10 random Dynamite titles, cover price of $3.99 or higher, so suggested retail of $40. As always, we have $5 will be available the whole show. Just let us know, 50 cents a comic. It's our way of saying thank you, and if there's anybody out there that has not read Dynamite titles, you might want to pick one up. And at 50 cents a copy, you really can't lose.
And I'll tell you what these rolls are great for, right? You've got, you and your buddies are talking comics. Sometimes it's in a bar, it's in a comic shop, wherever. I don't care where it is, right?
Right.
Sometimes it's really cool when someone's like, I haven't read anything by Dynamite. For $5, it's worth it to say, now you can, and you hand them, because invariably they're like, oh, wow, this stuff is really good. Like, yeah, I know. You're 18 years too late to the party, but thanks. That's maybe my favorite thing to do to friends.
Who was it? This was months ago. I forget. So one of our viewers was just like dropping them at like dentist's office and things like that. I
told you I brought that huge stack of comics to the gas station that I got from your desk, and literally this little guy had like tears in his eyes. He hadn't read comic books for like 30 years. Like life caught up with him, and he just, and I said, here, please take them. I just came from Dynamite Comics here in town. And he was like, he had like this like little kid Christmas morning look on his face.
That's heartwarming.
Like, yeah, just, giving people something like that. He was just super happy. I'm like, I've started to give away some of the books that I'm probably not going to value board or whatever.
Well, the way gas prices are, he's probably crying anyway. The happiness has evaporated. All right.
Can I get 600 on pump 3? Thanks.
Take out a loan to get a tank of gas. All right, so we have a couple of best offer books for the night. So let's do those real quick. So we have Civil War #1, signed by Charles Soule, and cover sketch art of Captain America by Ken Hazer. Suggested retail usually of I'm saying this is signed by 2 people, usually about $99.99 or higher. And tonight is one of our best offer books, starting at $25. Again, love Ken Hazer's work, man.
I love that particular version of Captain America, the helmet. I sort of like it. It comes from the Ultimates, and I love the sort of more soldier image.
Yes, yeah. It reflects a little bit more of the first Captain America movie, the first.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of that. When you first saw Ultimate Captain America, 2001, maybe 2001, there were some longtime Cap fans that were like, I hate this costume.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you guys understand that's the way like a paratrooper dressed during the war, right?
Yeah. It's not practical. Yeah. I mean, the guy's in the middle of a war.
They were trying
the Ultimates led directly into the interpretations in the MCU. So it's almost like Brian Hitch knew that he was trying to design a grounded, real world Cap.
Yeah, there was a few others. There's a few of the other Ultimate books too, where they were trying to take Bendis's cue, and we're trying to ground this a little bit more. You know, we're not trying to do Spider-Man and his amazing friends. There's no Spider Buggy. You know what I mean? They were trying to sort of do, and as it turned out, like Robbie just said, I think a lot of that stuff, like donated creative energy for the MCU.
Right. So Stevie V, I think it was you that was asking about the 10-pack. So we brought the 10-pack back. If you just joined us, we let off with it like we always do. $5 for 10 random Dynamite titles. You can't lose there. And let's see, Stevie B says, "Oh, Dwayne's a pain. What's going on, buddy?" So Stevie B, yeah, it was a beautiful day. So if you're from the East Coast, I don't know what the weather was like for you, Robbie, but for us, it actually snowed on Saturday. They kept saying, I was talking to Mariano Nicieza. This was several weeks ago. We were talking about that movie, A Day After Tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, I love that movie.
And, he was telling me about the polar shift. And
that's going to be the year 2024. We're almost there.
Well, the poles were going to flip and, all kinds of stuff like that. And it reminded me of the movie. And then they kept saying it on the news all weekend. Flash freeze. Like, are we talking about frozen food, or what are you guys talking about? And then I look out the window on Saturday, and there's literally snow in my yard.
Our area snow in my car. The high on Sunday was 32. Today, when I had my afternoon beer in the yard, it was 62.
Today, it is low 60s. Tomorrow is supposed to be high 60s.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. It's really starting to give me a headache. I'm not lying.
On Saturday, it snowed here in Alabama. We had 2 inches of snow, and it didn't get above freezing all day, and now it's 65 degrees sunny.
That's
here on Monday.
That's weird. I mean, you literally now have to check every single day if you're not watching the news, because it shifts so much. I mean, you think about it. It was freezing yesterday, snow on Saturday. It was actually colder yesterday than it was on Saturday with the wind chill.
I remember one day, I guess it was last summer, the temperature here, somebody was arguing with me about climate change. And I don't care. I don't care if you believe in it or not. It was 103 here, and it was 77 in Las Vegas. And I just looked at him and held up my phone. I'm like, it's hotter here in New Jersey than in the desert in July. So do me a favor. Do you believe whatever you want, but don't tell me the weather's the same. It was never that hot here. And it surely wasn't hotter here than it was in Las Vegas.
So JD says, come live in LA. It's like living in a giant mall. Yes, but you also sit in traffic jams to get to that giant mall.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that, though. I got nowhere to go. I'm retired. I just need like a little scooter.
All right, so a little scooter. Imagine that one, people, with his mutton chops flying down through the mall.
It airs them out, yeah.
So, all right, so our second best offer book of the night, Gunslinger Spawn #3, cover B by Brett Booth, CGC graded, guaranteed 9.8. Suggested retail of $89.99. It is a best offer item starting at $25. And if you are new to the show or you have not actually put any claims through, we have 2 types of claims. We have buy it nows. We'll throw out a price. Person claims it first in the chats, walks away with it. And then we have best offer of the night. So we'll throw out a starting price, and the person with the best claim offer at $7.55, and our producer JD will throw up a timer as we get close and an end line. That person wins and will walk away with the book. So we usually do the best offer of the nights first, give everybody a chance and as much time as possible to get their claims in if they're interested in the item. What were you gonna say?
Now
Ron,
this is a different image, by the way, just so y'all know. Okay.
Yes,
because you said it's a Gunslinger Spawn 3 created, right?
Hold on.
Did you say 3 or cover B?
I said cover B, but it actually does say 3 on my notes. It's not, is it? It's Gunslinger Spawn number 1.
Okay. The Todd McFarlane variant. Awesome.
Yeah,
it is.
And Dave also mentioned that is not Brett Booth. No, it is not.
So somehow it got messed up on my sheet there. All right. Yep,
that's a great cover. And that's
in on Gunslinger Spawn.
All right, Ron, you got it, buddy. I got you in for 25, my friend.
That's been a real fun book. And I guarantee you, of course, Todd has plans to do a Spawn live action movie. At some point down the road, I wouldn't be surprised if we get another animated series, especially if they do a movie. Gunslinger Spawn. Yeah, you don't widen out the Spawn. You don't expand that Spawn verse without plans to do something with that as a franchise. So.
All right, Dwayne, I got you, and then Dave upped you. He's at 50. So I just want everybody to know that I am keeping track of everybody's claim as it happens. So Dave is currently in the lead at 50.
And out of all the new, I was just going to say, out of all the new Spawn characters, at least from what I can see, this is by far the most popular, like variant of Spawn. So even more so than Medieval.
We've talked about this before a little bit. When they decide to broaden their universes and start bringing in alternate versions of the characters, some are fun, some are more over, some are less over. There's always one that seems to be like the front runner. Like this is who the fans connect with. Like Spider-Gwen, right? We had a ton of different versions of Spider-Man. For some reason, Spider-Gwen, I mean, she's everywhere. She expanded into Gwenverine and Gwenpool, and I think Gunslinger Spawn is sort of the people's choice, so to speak. You know, like we've had Medieval Spawn, we've had a bunch of other type stuff, but for some reason, this is what people seem to be talking about in the Facebook groups and the Twitter rooms and stuff like that.
All right, so we've had more action. Ron, I got you at 75 for the Gunslinger Spawn, so that makes you the high claim at the moment. Joel in the house, what's going on, buddy?
Dwayne's at 80. Yeah, this one we're gonna have to make
Dwayne's now at 80. All right, got you, Dwayne. All right, so Dwayne is now in the lead at 80. So I saw an interesting rumor, or not rumor, but saw a news story about Obi-Wan Kenobi. So apparently Darth Maul was going to be in it, and they wrote him out because they wanted Darth Vader instead.
Well, not only that, but apparently, from what I understand, the Obi-Wan was a little darker. They didn't want it quite that dark.
I heard that too, yeah.
It was really bad. I mean, I always loved the kind of desert hobo version of Ben from the original movie New Hope, but now apparently they're sort of, he's if now that you've kind of got this big string together, like you don't really know why he becomes a weird old hermit, right? He just does. Now you see exactly why he does.
Right.
The Emperor spanks Yoda, and Yoda disappears, and the Jedi get massacred because of Order 66. It's pretty dark as it is.
Right.
When you start adding in like Darth Maul or whatever, by adding in Darth Vader, you at least give the fans, even though he's a dark character, people love him. I don't know how much people love Darth Maul, to be honest with you. I don't.
He was,
we love Darth Maul.
Yeah,
we love Darth Maul.
I would agree with that.
He's the best part. We love Darth Maul. I'm just going to say it. I love Darth Maul. And it's such a cool, iconic looking character that had so little screen time and presence. Of course, that story gets expanded upon in the Clone Wars, but I would not. I guarantee you he's in there at some point. They're just trying to keep that shush. I think he's going to show up because you got to have Obi-Wan kind of get back at him. You know what I'm saying?
It's going to be the book of Darth Maul. It'll be the follow-up series.
It might be.
So
I think it's a great character, though. I remember when Phantom Menace was coming out, I was such a mark for that movie, and Darth Maul in particular. I had posters, I had action figures. This is before I even saw the movie, and I still today if I see a Darth Maul figure in the wild, I'll buy it. I got several of them. The same.
You got Robbie doing it in the wild.
That's what we call it. I understand that your desk, you're not in touch with the comic community, but here in the
whenever you guys use that phrase, it's like you guys are some sort of big hunters or something, with all your gear strapped to your back, going through the wild, looking for these things.
When's the last time you read a comic?
Yeah, you never heard of Craven the Comic Hunter?
An hour ago. I'm forced to. So Dave says his Clone Wars story is great.
Actually, you see that?
Wait,
Dwayne has this.
That would have been interesting.
A samurai story with Darth Maul hunting Imperials, trying to give Vader the information Luke is on Tatooine. That's a cool story, dude.
That is a cool story.
Don't say any more here in the chat. Just start writing.
And somebody at
62 Lefty Blues is here.
62, what's up, buddy? Glad you could join us. All right, so
Darth Maul may indeed show up in The Mandalorian. I think they might have learned their lesson a little bit. Me and like 5 people liked the Book of Boba Fett. Everybody else universally hated it.
I liked it. No. Don't get me wrong. I liked it. And again, I think there were certain expectations because we were more critical this time around because of Mandalorian. We've waited a long time to see that. And then, obviously it was very widely accepted. And then you had, Grogu, little baby Yoda. And, it kind of filled all those boxes. And then you come out with Boba Fett and laughingly, you had to reintroduce Mandalorian before, people really started to get a little emotional about it. I don't know. I just think it just, I don't know. I watched it. I'm glad I watched it, but it certainly is. It did not take off the same way that Mandalorian did. So,
that's for sure. I mean, I enjoyed it, but if you look at it in terms of Mandalorian is here, and Book of Boba Fett's on the list because it's a Star Wars property. That's it.
Right.
That's how that makes the list.
Well, I think
it's ours. We got to take
right, but I think Obi-Wan's going to be surprising because all of a sudden you have a character I think that has been through all of the movies. And a character that is universally more or less loved by Star Wars fans. So if they do it right, I just hope it's not.
Well, it's Obi-Wan that teaches us, especially our generation. It's Obi-Wan that teaches us what a Jedi is, not Luke. Right.
But what concerns me is that they don't get to that cookie cutting formula that sometimes happens, right? And so all of a sudden there's a character that's someone like Grogu. It's already happening because why is Obi-Wan on Tatooine? He's there to protect baby Luke. You see, there are already a lot of similarities.
So have a cute little baby to be baby Luke?
Well, I'm just saying there are already a lot of similarities there. So I don't want to see a repeat of The Mandalorian.
I don't think a baby Luke will go over as well as the baby Yoda. So I hope they don't.
Yeah, baby Yoda's cute. Baby Luke is just another annoying baby. We're going to have late.
I'm just hoping they expand beyond he's here to protect baby Luke. You know what I mean?
For me, the story of Obi-Wan will be the people who come to kill Luke. That'll be the interest for me. The bounty hunters, the Imperial Inquisitors, the people that are like, where is this kid?
But I guess. I guess.
Maybe Luke fighting baby Wampa. That's great.
But we know that they never find him. Now, maybe they'll show us that it's because Obi-Wan has stopped them on the way or whatnot. But like Vader, Anakin, he doesn't even know his kid survived at this point, So like,
that's good.
It's going to be interesting to see what they do. I think it'd be better to have other events go on there, especially because you got Jabba the Hutt there. You got the center of the criminal, organization of this part of the galaxy, the Outer Rim or whatever. Right. And so these like imperial forces start kind of poking around there for other reasons. And Obi-Wan starts trying to make sure they don't find out that there's a kid there or something. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what they do.
I think it's a little bit of a tightrope walk. I do. I think it's kind of because they're talking about having Obi-Wan be, and a lot of times people hate this. I know I hated it with characters I like. I don't like self-doubt. I don't like reflection. I don't like, I never liked Hal Jordan. Do I have the rank? Dude, you're the most joyless person. You get a power rank. Go out and enjoy it. And that's sort of the way it is here.
I don't think that's the way it's supposed to work.
Nah.
You're not supposed to take the ring and go party. Dude.
I would.
Another keg. Look.
Guy Gardner did.
John Stout in the house. What's going on, buddy?
Guy Gardner did.
Little Luke pod racing. Yeah, that was a bad move.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah.
That was already a bad move
They've
when they did it with Anakin.
done all that stuff, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I'm hoping for something fresh and new.
People freaked out when the Mandalorian's ship was the fighter that young Anakin took off the Federation ship.
Right.
And people lost their minds for that. And I'm like, as long as I don't see a pod, I'm happy. As soon as I see a pod, I'm out.
I don't care what y'all say. I think that the pod racing scene is one of the two best scenes in Phantom Menace, including the Duel of the Fates. I love the pod racing scene, and the N64 video game is pretty dope. So don't sleep on it.
I was going to say, I didn't know there were two good scenes in Phantom Menace, but,
according to Robbie, there was. All right, so real quick, let's get this out of the way for John. Mark Waid's The Green Hornet, Volume 1, Bully Pulpit trade paperback. So we're doing something a little different tonight. And we have one available for $19.99. So if you want to know what it is that John loves, this is probably a good way to get started anyway.
I would tell anybody, if you're going to jump into the world of the Green Hornet, this is a great jump-off point because you get a little bit of the history of the character. You kind of get the whole how Hornet met Kato thing, which is always a cool story.
Right.
I've seen it told a bunch of times. This is probably the best retelling of that story. There have been times where I've read the telling of that story and I've simply put the book away because I'm just like, you don't understand the character. Mark Waid, one of the top creators of the last 25 years, maybe almost 30 years, not surprisingly. Kind of like Matt Wagner, too, sort of understands what the Green Hornet is all about. If you're looking to jump into the Hornet, this is a great time. This is a great starting point.
So I have to say that I do like the pod racing scene, Robbie, but it could have been half as long, dude. Really. I mean, we didn't need all that pod racing.
I mean, what would you rather them taking that out to have, I don't know, 10 more awkward minutes of young Annie and Padme? I mean, come on. Like, I don't know.
No, but I would have been.
I love that scene. I think it's so great.
Been happy to see more expansion on Qui-Gon Jinn before they killed him off. And
I was just going to say that's what I would like to have seen.
No more Jar Jar, JD.
Jar Jar,
delete yourself, please.
That's the. I forgot.
Ron, the book is not signed, by the way. It is just straight up trade paperback, $19.99. Sorry, Robbie.
Oh, I forgot what I was going to say, so don't worry about it. It's okay. By the way, Mark Waid, one of my favorite writers when I was growing up reading comics in the 90s. In particular, I was a teenager, and I was getting into his Captain America run with Ron Garney. Great stuff. And Mark Waid just got announced to be at the Memphis Comic Expo this September, which is in my neighborhood. And I'm already planning on going there because James O'Barr is going to be there. So it'd be cool to run into Mark Waid. I haven't seen him at a con in like 20 years. So.
If I can find the photo, I'll send it to either JD or Kyle and see if they can get it up there. There's a great photo of me, probably about 100 pounds heavier than I am right now, being scolded by Mark Waid outside of a conference room, not for being unhealthily fat, but for not. We had a conversation about Superman and his character, the Plutonian from Irredeemable. And there was the conversation kind of went back and forth, and it was very good natured. It wasn't like negative or anything. But in the middle of it, my friend pulls out his phone and says, he interrupts Mark Waid with, "Wait, hold that thought." And Waid has got his finger out pointing at me, and he takes the picture. And I was like, "You just told Mark Waid to hold it a second. What are you doing?"
So third rail in the house. What's going on? Thanks for joining us, buddy. All right, just to repeat, anybody that joined us a little late, if you haven't put a claim through on the show before, we have two types of claim. Buy it now claim. We'll throw up a price. First person to claim it in the chats is walks away with that item. And then we have best offer of the night. So you guys can keep throwing up offers until 7:55. JD, our producer, will throw up an end line and a timer as we approach it. 7:55. And if you win something, please fill out the submission form. Very, very important. If your screen name doesn't match your real name, and of course, it gives us the ship to address as well. Let's see. Ron says my avatar is from James O'Barr Commission of the Crow.
Nice.
Except it's so small I can't see it. Oh man, but Ron's got some great artwork commissioned for himself. He sent me, emailed me a couple of pieces that he recently got commissioned. Very, very cool stuff.
That's awesome.
All right, so let's real quick. We got to go to a break, but I'm going to throw this out there before we go to the break. The other trade paperback we have tonight, Barbarella Volume 1, Red Hot Gospel trade paperback, and we have one available for $17.99. So just wanted to throw some trade paperbacks up there. I don't think we've really done them on the show in the past, and give people who might be interested in catching up to in certain Dynamite titles an opportunity. I know we've talked about it a lot. I know Alec is a big fan. Robbie's a big fan of trade paperbacks.
Well, we've had people ask about trades before too.
Yes,
I remember that. We've had people ask about, like, single issues are great, but sometimes it's cool to just, people want to catch up on something. Especially, we always recommend books to people, right? And multiple people have asked me on this show. I'm sure Robbie gets this all the time. They want to start a character. Where do I start? I had someone ask me, where do I start with Vampirella? I had someone ask me, where do I start, with Lone Ranger? Right. There's a lot of content out there. So, you want to try to give somebody – I don't always recommend people start at the very beginning, because let's be honest, at the very beginning, issue ones are probably worth the most in terms of money. But creatively, they're not always – you know what I mean? Like, the monetary value doesn't always – they got to kind of set the stage. I mean, most people know, like, when you go to a play, it isn't Act 2 things really start happening.
Right. No, exactly. So, all right, it's time for our first break. We'll be back in a couple minutes. Stay with us.
This is The Experience.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hey there, hi there, ho there. You're as welcome as can be.
Hi, I'm Nancy McCann. Welcome to Friday Night Live on The Experience.
Welcome, everybody. It's Fat Jack's Comic Crypt. Brendan, Al, Jason, hanging out.
There I am. Welcome back to Kicking It with Henry, folks. I am your host, Henry Kumpa. It's great to be here with you guys.
So we are going to talk about books that are in stores this week.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Mishmash.
Hello, and welcome to the Black Comics Universe, presented by Peep Game Comics.
And you gotta love it that the first people in the minute to skim it are creators.
Up, everybody! Welcome to another Wednesday Warriors. My name is Joey Galvez, and this is my pal Ambrosia.
Hey, everybody! Welcome to Space Cadet.
Hey! What's up? Welcome, everyone, for another episode of I Must Ask You a Question.
Hi, everybody! Welcome to Nerd News Now.
Hey, this is Rex. Welcome to Comic Collectibles.
Hey, hello, all you happy people. Welcome to the Dan Wickline Show.
Hi, everybody, and welcome. Is the crazy show that we do on Thursdays called What's in the Box? What's in the Box?
Comic culture and sales.
Hey, and we're back. So Stevie B, you're welcome, buddy. Actually, because we jammed you up, I think it was that Monday show we were supposed to talk about horror, and we never kind of really got to it. So Robbie decided that we were going to devote the entire program on Friday to horror films, and
nice.
That was a pretty good show. But Altered States, William Hurt, that was a surprise today.
It's a great movie.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was sort of a little bit out of nowhere. I mean, I assumed we were going to see more General Ross.
Well, we knew that he was sick, right? Because he did appear in, was it Endgame that he showed up in? But he was thinner, And like the word had come out that he was battling cancer or something like that.
I didn't know that actually. I mean, I'm sure the information came out, but I was not aware of it. So, when I woke up, checking my phone and you're scrolling through it and you saw William Hurt died at 71. I mean, he was a young man.
71 is young for, relatively speaking, for 2022. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When we were kids, if somebody lived to 70, you'd be like, wow, God bless. Now we're used to people just living longer, especially famous people.
Yeah.
Unless something terrible happens, like God forbid, just like a plane crash or, lightning hits their mansion or something. People tend to, that's the way they live their lives. I mean, Madonna is 60. And you watch her perform and you're like, she's 60.
Hey, Brandon, thanks for joining us, buddy. But yeah, I mean, he's played a lot of roles. I think I've liked him mostly in everything that he's ever played, with the exception of that Dune miniseries that they had. He played Leto Atreides, and that was that was a horrible film. I don't personally blame.
It was like a sci-fi channel version of Dune or something.
Brutal. I mean, I don't personally blame William Hurt for it. It was just a bad movie all the way around. But and the reason I bring it up is the new Dune movie is back on HBO. Is it HBO? I think it's HBO.
HBO, yeah.
So it's back on. So I watched it again because it's a long movie. There was a lot to unpack there. And I'm glad I watched it again. There was a lot of stuff that I missed first go around. But I'm very excited about the second film. I mean, it really is a very well done movie.
Where people are getting a little confused is because when they premiere movies that would have been in the theater, they go on HBO Max, right? Like my neighbor has HBO. She doesn't have HBO Max, and she can't find the movie. And one day she comes over and asks my wife, "I literally can't find this movie." And we kind of looked, and I had to sort of explain to her, "Yeah, it goes HBO Max, then it goes out to rent, and then it comes back to HBO." And I think that if they're going to be doing these platform tiers, eventually Disney Plus is going to wind up having some kind of tier where there's advertising, and then they'll get more of my money for no advertising.
They already do that through Hulu. They own Hulu.
No, but somebody said Disney Plus is already trying an advertising.
Trying to do it.
And one of the big selling points originally of Disney was no ads, and it was like, what, $7-8 a month? It was totally worth it.
Yeah.
To me, they have, for example, I look at Netflix. That's completely reversed. Netflix is like $20 a month now.
I know.
And you've got like next to nothing I want to watch.
Meanwhile,
Disney Plus is like $8 a month. Yeah. It's on every day of my life in the house.
Yeah, so they're starting. I mean, Netflix took a hit when everybody started with their own streaming channels. That's for sure.
Well,
All right,
I think Netflix is understanding what people are doing, which is just, since Netflix puts it out all at once, people just wait until there's a couple shows that they want to see, and then they buy it for a month, watch it, and then move on to something else. And I think they're realizing that, so they're jumping.
You're right.
It up.
Netflix is not a 12-month-a-year service. One of the Facebook groups I belong to, Movie and Entertainment, they talk about this. You have services now that are 12-month-a-year services, 6-month-a-year services, maybe holiday season services.
Right.
And of course, it changes for everybody, right? For me, Disney Plus is a 12-month-a-year service. For someone else, maybe not so much. But people are looking at it in those terms now. I look at Netflix at $20 a month. There's no way you're a 12-month-a-year service.
Right. I would agree
You've got
with that.
British Bake Off. You've got 4 or 5 shows that we watch. And then I got to wait 3.5 years for Stranger Things. Look,
Yeah. I would agree with that. So let's see. I would agree with what JD said earlier. I mean, Kiss of the Spider Woman was the movie that was referenced in all the articles about William Hurt. It was just like, really?
It's because that's an
How
Oscar.
are people forgetting the Lost in Space remake?
Oh my God!
That he was in with Joey. I love that movie.
You found the second movie that I was not impressed with that he was in.
That's a TNT classic. It's on before wrestling all the time.
I watched that a few times. I'm just Joey. No, that didn't work for me. No, Joey is Joey Tribbiani. That's it. He can't be anybody else.
And I think he knows that. He jokes about that in one of the Showtime movies. I forget episodes.
It was very hard to take him seriously.
I think he even said that on the Friends reunion. He's like, I keep playing the same character and they keep giving me money for it, so I appreciate it.
All right, next book up. Symbiote Spider-Man #1, signed by Greg Land. Suggested retail of $39.99, and we have one available tonight for $19.62 for the year. that Spider-Man appeared in Amazing Fantasy number 15. So that is available tonight.
I think we talked about this with Robbie once before.
Body Heat.
Greg Land is one of these guys that sort of, he's not the first name that comes out in these conversations, right? But then you start looking at the body of work and you're like, oh, wow. You know what I mean? Certain creators, I hate to say it, certain creators just have more sort of play in comic book media than others. But you start looking at what Greg Land did.
All right.
Like,
I think Lars Man is taking it. All right. You got the symbiote Spider-Man, buddy.
Did Nico come in first?
It's kind of hard to see.
Oh, hold on. Let me see.
On my screen, Nico came in just a smidgen first.
I can't even see Lars Man anymore. What happened to him? Oh, yeah. Looks like Nico came in before you, Lars Man. I'm sorry, buddy. I don't know how that happened. So that actually is going to Nico.
Do we have another one?
I don't know right now, John. You want to walk back there and go look?
I'll put the show on pause. You go ahead and look. I'm going to go grab a sandwich.
Oh, man.
So,
yeah, but I mean, William Hurt had a pretty prolific career.
Yeah, Joey voice. He's right.
How you doing? Joey is Joey, and he'll always be Joey with his Thanksgiving pants, the whole 9 yards. I can't take him seriously. Yes, Kathleen Turner. I remember that movie. Yeah, and Body Heat.
I got a question. So, like, the two biggest sitcoms of the '90s were arguably Seinfeld and Friends. What did you like better out of those two? I'm a Seinfeld guy over the two. I like both.
I have to admit, I was more Friends than Seinfeld. It wasn't that I didn't like the characters, but they were jerks. I mean, that the whole cast, that was the roles they were playing. They were jerks. Where you didn't get
they're kind of jerks in Friends too, Rex. Where you watch that show?
No,
I was going to say
the same way. Not the
I'm
same
a Friends
way.
guy, and every week, one of the reasons I identified with Friends is every week somebody was a drain on the group. Somebody dragged the group somehow.
Yes,
got into problems, and that's the story of my life and my friends. I'm doing great. I'm having a great time. Somebody comes along and screws things up, but they're your friends, so you keep them.
Dwayne Zapane says Frasier. Where Rubenstein says Wings. I remember that show.
There was a period of time where NBC had probably about 15, 16, 17 years where it was just one sitcom after another that was massively over. Emmy nominations, the characters in the shows went on to huge things.
Coach, John Stout says Night Court. Remember Coach?
Night Court.
I love Night Court.
It goes back quite a bit, actually.
Cheers is one of my favorite sitcoms of all time, Brandon.
Taxi and Barney Miller. That's more.
That's
late 70s.
But those were 70s.
Yeah,
and
they were a little bit before that time really started to explode.
This is before it was must-see TV.
No, exactly. Wings was a really good show.
Was another one of those shows, I think, from. That's a show that gets forgotten off at News Radio.
News Radio, yes.
With Phil Hartman, Dave Foley. Joe Rogan.
Yeah. That's one of those shows that everyone's talking about comics, comedies, and they forget. And then when you mention it, they're like, "Oh yeah."
So let's see. Three's Company, I also kind of think is more late 70s as opposed to the 80s.
I used to watch that all the time though. Those reruns. Oh, I love.
When Suzanne Summers left, they kind of jumped the shark.
When Priscilla Barnes though, I like Priscilla Barnes. She's fine. She's fine in it.
I don't know.
I mean, what are you expecting out of Three's Company, Rex? Come on, I think your expectations are too high for that show.
You're dressed like we're going down to the Regal Beagle after we're done. You got to.
You didn't bring me any food.
It's honestly once Don Knotts shows up, that's when it starts going downhill. So
yeah.
Oh,
well, what's his face? Yeah, what's his face passed away.
Yeah, I was just saying Norman Fell passed away.
So they didn't have a choice there. Suzanne Summers was just trying to renegotiate her contract.
Her husband, if I remember correctly, was like a Hollywood guy, like a manager or whatever. And if I remember the story, he tried to play hardball with the studio, and they said take your wife and go.
Yeah, it totally did not work. All right, so let's do another book. So we have East of West #2, Signed in Gold by Jonathan Hickman. Suggested retail of $89.99. We have one available for $50.
Looks like it's 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10. That is correct.
That's one of my favorite comic books of the last 10 years is East of West. It is magnificent. It is fantastic. And Hickman is doing a live action show, I believe, on Amazon. I think he's actually writing scripts for it and stuff. But East to West is amazingly awesome. It's like a sci-fi Western kind of approach to the Book of Revelation, right? So it's like it's a pre-apocalyptic thriller, almost in a way. But there's all these different factions, 7 nations of America, and what's left of this world that was wiped out by a comet. So all that's left is America. Seven different nations, all trying to bring about Armageddon. And what if the 4 horsemen show up and Death goes, you know what? I like this place. He falls in love with a human and he gives up. So now there can't be an apocalypse because Death is off being Clint Eastwood, right? And that's basically the premise. It is fantastic.
Dwayne Zapane actually brings up a good point, which I forgot about. He's absolutely right. Norman went off to a spin-off show called The Ropers for a while.
I remember that. Yeah.
Remember? Yeah. I thought he died, and that's why they had to replace character.
They died eventually, but there was something, I don't remember that. There was something controversial happened, I thought. Or maybe I'm just remembering a YouTube headline or something.
I don't know. That show had a lot of issues, obviously.
Yeah, Three's Company. There was like a VH1 behind the scenes on Three's Company.
Yeah.
It was quite a bit of, you know what I mean? It was that era too where everybody was partying all the time. It was very difficult to get all 3 of them sort of coherent and running their scenes and lines and on time or whatever. They were shooting on location in California. You know, people would literally breeze in, especially a guy like John Ritter was super talented. He would sort of do almost like Frank Sinatra did the generation before. He'd kind of sip real quick through the script. Okay, I know what you want from me. The script to get chucked. He'd just go on and do himself, and then he'd be like, I'm out. And he'd hop in his,
What's crazy is that when rewatching it as an adult, when I was a kid and I would watch it all the time, I had no idea. Like it was all above my head, the idea that he was pretending to be gay so that he could live with these 2 women. But when you watch it as an adult, you get that bit, and it's this always a funny, the physical comedy from John Ritter in particular is amazing. Really good stuff.
Well, I feel bad sometimes because I sometimes I wonder if younger people won't get that, right? Like I wonder if Three's Company will carry over. Like the way things are now, almost everybody has like a gay a roommate, housemate, whatever, coworker. Almost like I'm wondering if why all this sort of theater that goes with it, and it's kind of hard to explain.
It's just funny how some things age and some things don't. Which I think
that's exactly right, JD. That's exactly right.
So and that's kind of what happened there. So Ron wants to see a CCA. So let's do one for him. Let's see. All right. Okay, let's do this one. Green Lantern Season 2, number 1, signed by Liam Sharp and cover sketch art by Ken Hazer.
Oh,
it's just a retail of $100, and we have it for $59.19. One available at that price for $19.59 when Green Lantern first appeared in Showcase number 22. So
this is a callback to when we had the other Ken Hazer.
And John got one too.
Yeah, I did. You guys are greenlit, no pun intended, to buy this one. I already got mine. So
I love this cover. Look at the way that he did it, where he just did the black line work, but then he put the white on the eyes, makes that pop so much. That's so classic looking. That's fantastic.
Is that enough green for you, John?
I was going to say, this might be the first time we've had a book that was a green blank variant. We've had red. We had black.
Yeah, we had another Ken Hazer cover sketch. And you complained about the green of the ring. I think you spent like 20 minutes complaining.
Yeah, the ring. The green should be in your face, and clearly, Ken listened to me. Yeah, right. I decided we were going to go nuts here.
All right. So Dave wanted to hear a recap. So let's do a recap real quick.
Sure.
All right. As always, we have the Dynamite 10-pack reader set. Suggested retail of cover price of $3.99 or higher. So suggested retail of about $40. And as always, we have it for $5 for all 10 comics, so 50 cents a copy. Then we had Mark Waid's The Green Hornet Volume 1 Bully Pulpit Trade Paperback. We have one available at $19.99. And then we had Barbarella Volume 1 Red Hot Gospel Trade Paperback. We have one available at $17.99. And hey, Chamorro, thanks for joining us, buddy. And then we had, that one was claimed by Nico. Then we had East of West #2, signed in gold by Jonathan Hickman. Suggested retail of $89.99. It is one of our 5-star books at $50. Let's see. And then we had Green Lantern Season 2 #1, signed by Liam Sharp and cover sketch art by Ken Hazer. And let's see, suggested retail of $100, and we have one available for $59.19.
I got to tell you, the image up there, as good as it is, doesn't do justice to just how bright green this cover is. I mean, this is like if I asked somebody to do a cover, this is exactly what I would want. It is so cool.
All right, and we still have available Civil War #1, signed by Charles Soule, and cover sketch art of Captain America by Ken Hazer. Suggested retail, usually, it's not in my notes, but usually dual sign like this. $99.99, and this is a best offer book of the night, starting at $25, so that is still available. Then we had Gunslinger Spawn #1 cover, variant cover by Todd McFarlane, CGC graded, guaranteed 9.8, and right now Dwayne is in the lead. Dwayne Zapan is in the lead at 80. The Hulk is pissed right now.
I know, I just saw that.
Too funny.
I'll tell you, when I think about the East to West book, it reminds me of two things that AMC did. They're up on AMC Plus now, and I'll tell you right now, AMC Plus would be the perfect platform to do that. It's got energy from both Into the Badlands, if you've seen that show, and Hell on Wheels, which is sort of this slightly different look of the West. And Enter the Badlands. Thank you, Dwayne. And that was sort of almost like a post-apocalyptic world. People don't really have guns so much. You know what I mean? I think that could be that's one of those like sleeper things,
right?
Where if they get the right producer, they get the right money behind it, that could be massive, right? I mean, AMC is always looking for their next, their next Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And as it turns out, many times their next Walking Dead is more Walking Dead. Fear of the Walking Dead, or they got another one now. I mean, I don't blame them. People still watch it. Everybody's like, oh, Walking Dead has jumped the shark. Have you seen the numbers on this show? There's a whole lot of people watching the shark jump.
Yeah, still a lot of people watching it. I mean, a lot of people watch the shark jump in Happy Days too, right? But
yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
I think it's Amazon that's doing East to West, and I think that will be fine too, because they've been doing some really cool big budget superhero fantasy stuff recently. Yeah. Good Omens, which is coming back for season 2, which I'm a big fan of, and The Boys, which is y'all know The Boys. I don't know if you ever heard about that, but that's
all right. So Stevie B is asking about the special item Amy hyped before Friday's show. I think this is the one. So we're doing something a little different. We have something on the air tonight that we've never done before. And it is, let's see. Let me find it on my sheet. Red Sonja, Hyrcania's Legacy board game. So we're trying a board game tonight. Okay, and we have one available at $39.99. And I was just talking to John about this. I mean, board games are definitely making a comeback. I know there's like a big convention locally.
Yeah, I mean, if you've ever gone to Gen Con, there is like a whole section of Gen Con, which is board games and bookshelf games. And I got to tell you, there are people that literally travel from all over the country. I've talked to people that came from Europe and Canada just to board game or bookshelf game. There's probably, this is like the golden age of this. I mean, if you've ever done any of the, I guess it started with Settlers of Catan. You had the Ticket to Ride. These things have expansion packs. They have groups on Facebook. If you're looking to play, I hear people say, "Oh, I really can't find a game." Go on Facebook and find the group near you. Trust me. Not so much this particular Red Sonja game, but if you're looking to pick up like an Arkham Asylum Lovecraft game, just go look on Facebook. Somebody somewhere near you is playing this game.
So Tomorrow says Reno has a big expo this week. I know it's been making a comeback. I mean, it's
funny. Is that this week?
That's what he says.
Board games at my shop. Board games is a huge part of our business. Yeah. Like, it is ridiculous how many board games people come in and buy. Like people have their own groups. They come up to our store and play.
Yep.
And some of these games can be rather pricey. So to see a board game for only $40, most of these games are like $80 to $100, $150. You know, like I bought Arkham Asylum. I played it like.
Super funny? I said that to Rex when he told me the price tonight. I'm like, these things sell for like double that, right?
Yeah, it's ridiculous, right? But they're really intricate now. And if you want something, people love having board game nights, and it's something fun and different to do. And everybody's so tired sometimes of Monopoly and all that kind of stuff. These games are so much better nowadays that they've been crafting. So what kind of game is this? Do you know? Is it like a tabletop moving around? Like
I have never played it, so I'm not sure actually. But you know what? Ron actually asked about the Mega Kit, so I'm going to cover that real quick, and we'll go back to talking about board games because
I like the virus shoots and ladders.
Yeah, I know.
Do
right?
me a favor, call Nick real quick.
We'll put that in the next production meeting. All right. So
wait, there's a production meeting. John wants the game. John, this is very cool. I'm glad you got this.
John. All right, buddy. You got it, buddy. All right. So John is taking John Spilios.
I'll pester Rex to
see. I get what you did there.
I'll pester Rex and see if we have any more.
Send me an email. All right, so
the world of Dynamite Comics is perfect for a series of interconnected board games.
He started talking about this when he got here tonight. All right, so let me do the mega set for Ron real quick. Deadpool mega set, suggested retail of $270, includes Age of Ultron versus Marvel Zombies #1, signed and cover sketch art by Ken Hazer. Hawkeye versus Deadpool #1, Dynamic Forces variant, signed by Mike Mayhew. Deadpool #1, signed by Chris Bacalo. Fantastic Four #33 variant, CGC graded, guaranteed 9.8, with Deadpool on the cover. So that is, Lars Mann is taking it. Got it, Lars Mann. But it's interesting how the conversation kind of, we're talking about all the things I remember doing as a kid. Like this was huge when I was in college way back in the day. And I don't see it anymore. I wanted to play with my daughter, but she has zero interest. Trivial Pursuit. I haven't played that in so long, and it used to be the thing. I mean, in college, we would, on an odd night of coming off of way too much drinking the night before, we'd sit around a whole bunch. It was never a problem finding people, and we'd just play Trivial Pursuit for hours.
Yeah, I love playing Trivial Pursuit.
It was a great game. It was absolutely so much fun.
I have a copy that I bought probably in like 2012 or something, and it's very outdated. It's got that famous outdated question that says, out of these actors, who has not played Batman? And it's Christian Bale, George Clooney, Val Kilmer, and Ben Affleck. And at the time, it was Ben Affleck. But now, like, it's just like, well, throw that one out. Throw that card out.
I know, right?
It really is. Let's say Trivial Pursuit was popular before the pub trivia trend. I think people prefer the combo of trivia and booze. Yeah, maybe.
That's a good way.
I mean, it was just...
I haven't been to a bar. I mean, obviously, the pandemic slowed things down, but every bar I've been to in the entirety of the 21st century, somebody has trivia night at some point. It started like people had it here and there. And by 2000, everybody was doing it.
We used to go to a local pizzeria as pop culture philosophers.
John's playing the Green Lantern.
All right, John, you got it, buddy. Hold on, let me find it here. So that's going to John Spilios. You got it, buddy. All right,
which
and
one?
then
You know which one he wants?
What do you mean, which one?
It's the CCA, surely, right?
I'm assuming he means a CCA, but
which other one did we have?
Don't we have
that's Green Hornet, John.
Green Hornet, I'm sorry.
Do you know the difference?
Oh my gosh!
I spent the
John forgot about the Green Hornet. Are you drinking?
No, but
did you not bring any for me? That's selfish.
I did have a beer before we came over with second lunch, but I
did lunch.
I spent a ton of time researching doing games. Because unfortunately, Nick is going to wind up muting me on social media when I'm always asking him for a World of Dynamite board game.
It's not drinking games. All right, so I think Lars Mann asked what the Spider-Man slab book is. It is, let me see. Is that the one? No, that's not the one. Oh, wait, are you asking about the CCA? That's one. Okay, let's go with that one then. As soon as I find it. Edge of the Spider-Verse #2. Facsimile edition, CGC graded, guaranteed 9.8. Suggested retail of $99.99. Tonight we have it for $62.19 for the year. Amazing Fantasy number 15 hit the stands. And I know Lars Man is a big Spidey fan. So after this, we'll do the Spidey remark as well, or cover sketch art. But it's kind of nice that it's making a resurgence for board games. I mean, it's something that kind of, with the explosion of technology with the phones and everything else, now everybody's playing that Wordle or something like. I haven't tried it yet. I probably never will.
No,
I'm so tired of seeing Wordle posts. I don't even know what they mean.
I actually muted Wordle on my Twitter feed. Got a million times better.
You know what?
I'm sorry. I know.
I don't either. It's even worse. It was like, remember Peloton, and people would keep posting. I muted that also immediately on Twitter. Honestly, I am not a fitness dude. I don't care if chick from San Diego had you pedal 1,700 miles. That's great. I don't need to know that. Well, it's just like it was so self-absorbed after a while. It's like people would post it and be like, I don't care that you beat some virtual dude or you came in 10th.
You need to take that and post it in the Peloton group. That's what those are for.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
That's exactly right. That's what those things are for. There's hundreds of people all day just posting their stats from Peloton and the rowing machine. And what was the thing before that? Bow flags. Go ahead. God bless.
But all those other ones, they didn't do it the way Peloton did it. Okay. Because they must have had some sort of link. So you could just you could immediately post it on Facebook or Instagram. Oh, I came in 5th.
Yeah, so they have a share function.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what do I know? How do I know you came in 5th? How do I know the guy who came in 4th wasn't just sitting on his Barco lounger going like this? Okay, turning the pedal. I mean,
there are people trying to cheat Peloton.
Yeah,
people trying to cheat it.
When Nintendo 64 came out, they had that a dance game, but it was determined not by foot pads but by the controller. And I was still married at the time. I remember my ex-wife got so pissed off because she was doing it and getting worked up. And I'd be laying on the couch and I figured out how to flick the wrist to make the movements, right? So I'd be sitting there with a beer in my hand going like this, oh, perfect. Like that. And she used to get so ticked at me. I'd be like, I beat the system. What do you want me to do?
Yikes.
Oh my gosh.
Our next break?
Are we there? Oh my gosh, yes. Our second break of the night. We'll be back in a couple minutes. Stay with us.
Hang with us, everybody.
Imagine being at a convention and going to an interview panel that's just for you. No bustling crowds, no hours-long lines, just you, the moderator, and your favorite comic book creators. Well, this is pretty much that. Miss Jen sits down every week with 2 comic book creators for a live stream interview about their latest work, and you can ask them whatever you want. It's Talking Shop, Mondays at 5 Eastern on The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales.
There's something for every imagination at your local comic shop. Visit ComicShopLocator.com to find a store near you.
Hey, I'm Joe Pruitt. I'm the publisher and /CEO of Aftershock Comics, and you're watching The Experience.
So many requests. Hey, we're back.
We're back.
So interesting. I love. Hey, Marcus, what's going on, buddy? So what's what's really funny is how sometimes, obviously our conversations drift, but we've drifted off into board games and old TV shows from the 80s. It just, when you think about it, it's amazing how much technology has changed how we approach almost everything we do. When during the pandemic, when my daughter, initially during the pandemic, when my daughter and I were stuck at home, she was back from college, everything was virtual.
That in itself is a sitcom.
Yeah, probably. A yelling sitcom. I was ordering just tons and tons of stuff on Amazon. That one swipe quick pay was a bad idea. That's how I ended up with cast iron pans, the whole 9 yards, right? So I decided, I do, but just not that often because I hate the cleanup, and a lot of times she's out and I'm by myself, right? So it's not fun cooking for one person, right? So I decided to as I'm looking on Amazon and purchasing way more than I needed, I started to remember. I said to my daughter, I said, you know what? Let's play backgammon. I used to play a ton of backgammon in college. Ordered the set. Was way smaller than the one in the picture, I felt, okay? Made of shoddy materials.
I've noticed that too when you buy something.
Yeah, I'm like
a glass
this
chess
is
set.
it?
It was,
it was like,
it was a fraction of the size.
I was like, get out of here. And the dice, the dice were too small. It was horrible. And I ended up teaching her how to play because it's not a very complicated, if you've ever played backgammon, it's not complicated to learn. It is complicated to get good at it.
I mean, it's no Othello, but it's okay.
And my daughter played with me. We played 2 games, and she was done with it. And that thing is collecting dust on my shelf. Yeah. It was kind of depressing in the sense that I realized except when she was little, Candyland and Chutes and Ladders, and then eventually Monopoly, which she was young enough that if she lost, she threw a hissy fit. So takes kind of the fun out of it when you're hoarding all the money and all the properties, and your 6-year-old's really upset. Your 6-year-old's like freaking out, okay, as you're mortgaging her properties. It's like, well, you owe me money. I don't know. I got a hotel on there, hon. You're gonna have to cough it up. John, unfortunately, no. I am trying to get some new stuff for Punisher.
Rex will tell you, John, I literally just asked him when we were on the break. I came back into the room and Rex walked in and I said, do we have any Punisher? And it was like,
we genuinely don't, which I found surprising as well. But we're working on getting more stuff.
Popular character, and this is us getting stuff like in real time now. Maybe in the beginning of the show, we had stuff, but this show has been on for 14 months, 16 months, whatever it's been. Pretty much every week. With the exception of maybe like a tornado or blizzard or something.
We were on.
So we ran there. So we've blown through a lot of the stuff that was in the quote unquote Dynamite vault.
We have. So now we're trying to get more stuff. So I am working on it, John. So hopefully we'll have something soon. All right.
I'll tell you who has all our stuff. Dave Cerrone has all our stuff. Go to his Instagram page. Library Kid is going into business for himself.
All right, so let's see. Okay, so we have a CCA.
Do we have any other requests out there? Because I see people, we did the Ken Hazer Captain America.
Yeah. I think John is telling another one of the viewers. I forget who, though.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I mean, I love this because we've talked about this before. This is almost sort of like the ultimate Captain America.
Yes.
The ultimate take on Captain America.
Well, a realistic take.
As much as I love the comic growing up, a grown man in blue lycra with the wings. And,
but they eventually moved that into the Marvel Universe, and that's how influential that Brian Hitch Ultimates run was, and the Bendis stuff with Spider-Man, Mark Millar's work, of course, but like even the fact that first issue of Ultimates was just Captain America in World War II. I remember reading that the day it came out, or right before, because, working at the shop, you get them early. And I remember telling everybody, this is how they need to do a Captain America movie. They need to do a Captain America movie all in the 40s. And then at the end of it, he wakes up in modern day. And holy cow, they did it. And it worked.
Well, I think the line from that people still remember is, you think this A on my head stands for France.
Yeah.
My favorite. That's kind of like a brutal shot at the French,
and it makes sense for a dude from, who was last aware and conscious in like 1943, you know what I'm saying, or whatnot. And I love the moment in the first one where they're all paratroopers, right? They're about to go in, and they're like, that guy didn't have a parachute. They're like, Captain America don't need no parachute. They did that in the movie too.
Bucky, at one point, they took this comment out of the movie, thankfully, but Bucky is like, Cap thinks parachutes are for girls.
So John Spilios, Ron is correct. It is a best offer CCA. So I have you down for 25 at this point, which was the opening claim for this book. All right. So you're currently in the lead at 25. You got it, buddy.
Quick question.
Nico, if you're talking about the CCA of Captain America, John's already down for 25, so I'm going to need you to come up a bit on that. Yeah, I mean,
we had two questions. We had Ron ask about a statue.
Yes.
And then we had someone else ask about the Dejah Thoris statue.
Yes. So I will, there is no statue tonight, but I will have a statue on Wednesday, and it's probably going to be Dejah Thoris. So Wednesday, let me make a note of that because I'm an old guy and I don't remember stuff.
That Dejah Thoris statue is, I'll tell you, anyone looking for this, like a Dejah Thoris statue, I love this thing.
Yeah. So I guarantee we will have one on Wednesday for you. Okay, so Nico, you're in for 25, right? Or actually, I'm sorry, Nico.
Nice.
John Spilios is in for 25, so I need you to come up a little bit higher for the Civil War #1 with the sketch art of Cap on there. John Spilios, he claims a Dejah Thoris statue.
Huh.
Say that for Wednesday, buddy.
No, he's putting in a pre-claim.
It's a pre-claim. I don't know if we can do that. I don't have the paperwork for that.
A pre-claim on first offer.
All right. So, all right, I was going to do the Amazing Spider-Man #49, Legacy 850, signed with cover sketch art of Spidey by Ken Hazer.
Man, that's nice. That's very much like, maybe it's just me, but that's like a Bagley energy, doesn't it?
Yeah, I agree with it. All right, so suggested retail of $89.99. Tonight we have the one available for $62.19 for anybody who's up for it. And I know we've had it on before, but each one is different. When Ken did this, every single one, although it is a head sketch of Spidey, they're all different. I haven't seen two that are alike. So, which is part of what's really cool, his hand sketches on the covers.
It's definitely a Bagley Ultimate Spider-Man impression that I'm getting 100%.
Yeah.
So, I'd like to start playing board games again, but you usually got to find at least.
You know what I'd like to do?
What?
I'd like to start playing the Dynamite board games again that Nick has manufactured. That's what I would like.
Okay. Well, you're going to need to find some more people, my friend.
No, I'm hoping Nick is watching.
Maybe you can have your wife jump in.
I'm hoping Nick
Road
is watching.
Collecting. Thanks for joining us, buddy. We appreciate it. And I want to say, as we're in our second hour, myself, John, Robbie, we appreciate the viewers out there. You guys make the show. And we realize that you take time out of your evenings to watch us, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, everybody makes the show. I mean, honestly, like, I can come over here and talk to Rex about comics anytime. That doesn't, those fat checks I get from Robbie to appear on his show. That was.
You need to let me negotiate for you, Robbie.
Yeah, right?
Right.
I said Robbie food. Did you not know?
Now you're going to be in trouble, Pally.
Yeah,
all right,
he just throws a cheesesteak in a box and ships it to me. It's not even refrigerated or nothing. It's just
So Ron is up to 90 on the Gunslinger Spawn #1. I mean, John was bringing me some food. First it was one big, humongous pizza. Then it was the Sicilian slice that he brought, which was very good.
Did he bring you a sandwich? I'm trying to remember.
You did not bring me a sandwich. I assure you, you have not brought me a sandwich, sir.
Nice. Stevie B. I love this. Stevie B says the Green Lantern cover in the front of the rack keeps reminding me of Brussels sprouts in the fridge.
Cut them in half and slather them in butter and roast them.
I was going to say, you can do that. My favorite thing to do if you have a mandolin or a slicer is slice these things super thin. Let them sit for a little bit in cold water.
John? I don't.
Mandolin's not that big a deal.
Mandolin is something that you play, isn't it?
You chop up some bacon, you cook it in the pan, you remove the bacon, and then you cook the Brussels sprouts in bacon fat with a big fistful of pepper at the end.
Lars Man came up with the same idea. You don't have to be a genius. Put bacon on it, it tastes great. Of course, you put bacon on anything, it tastes great.
I just like to saute them with a little bit of.
Well, how much? I mean, do you want me to do a cooking demo on the show because that'll cut into the?
At least I'll get to eat something finally.
I just like to saute them in some olive oil with some salt and pepper. So that's what I do.
Why would Amy be the taster?
I think she just has more. She's more telegenic.
She didn't even want to eat your pizza.
She did not want to eat the pizza, which is fine. She didn't have to, but it was there. JD, you're right. And there were many times in my life.
Literally.
My poor, long-suffering wife would have like mac and cheese bacon burritos for dinner because that's what I was hired to make. And she'd be like, it's college food. I'm a grown woman. And I'm like, bon appetit.
So, all right. So 26 for the, I'm assuming you're talking about the Civil War.
In 62, you're right. Balsamic vinegar is a nice move with Brussels sprouts because Brussels sprouts has a little bit of a sourness, a little bitterness, and balsamic vinegar has a little sweetness. That works real well.
Yeah, pop that in at the end, though. Don't do it first. Like, pop it in at the end, right? That's what I did last time I made them. They're really good. Saute them in olive oil, salt and pepper, a little bit of balsamic vinegar at the end. That's all you need.
Well,
yeah, people sometimes put balsamic vinegar in too early. I hate to do this. The sugar content, it just cooks and gets bitter, and it makes a mess if you don't have the right pan. That's absolutely like 2 minutes before the meal is done. You add it, not 2 minutes.
Don't worry,
in.
Stevie B. John's on the way now. You don't have to hire a sous chef. But all right, John Spilios is at 30 now for the Captain America. Gotcha, buddy. All right, so what the nice news is my daughter actually cooked. We had my nephew over who's 9. We had him over. We had him for the weekend. His mom had something to do, and she actually cooked. It was all right. Okay, I mean, it wasn't bad. It was good. It was definitely edible. I'll probably have it for leftovers tonight because John didn't bring me anything to eat today. Oops, did I say that out loud? Because I meant to. Okay.
Goodness. Now I see why you have 2 ex-wives. You are needy. Jesus.
I have to pay for that, boy. All right, so let's see. What should we do now? Let's do. I know Lars Man's a big Spidey.
What do we have left in there? I'm trying to see. Have Robbie pick one.
You pick one, Rob.
Well, I'm okay. First of all, the first thing I see when I look at you guys in between the space between is it looks like we got a Ken Hazer Blade CCA there. Blade being one of my favorite characters.
This was the handful.
Oh, look at that!
I know that Ron had jumped on these the first time they appeared, so we have like a handful left.
We call these like the Red Line collection or something. They were.
Well, what ended up happening was it was this one Blade. It was Dr. Juggernaut and Hyperion.
Hyperion. Oh yeah.
And
Dr. Juggernaut.
John, you can stop talking. It's done.
All right, I'm gonna stop talking.
Damn.
All right, John Spilios, you got it, buddy.
Do you even know the price?
Great
It is $89.99 suggested retail, and it is a 5-star at $50 book. So Ron wants us to turn around the books that have been claimed. We can certainly do that. You know what? We'll do that. We will. Let's see here. Okay, so let me do that then. All right. So the megas. All right. So let's start with the mega set is gone. Yeah, I know. You talk amongst yourselves.
You talk amongst yourselves. Do we have another book up there?
We can.
Because Blade has been sold.
Yeah, we can talk about Blade, but we've already sold it. So.
Yeah, we can talk about Blade, but it's already been sold.
I forgot this, but I was super excited. Somebody told me who was going to be Blade in the new project, and I really like this actor, and I cannot remember last name.
Mahershala Ali.
First name. Yeah,
Mahershala Ali.
This guy's been in a bunch of really good stuff, going all the way back to a USA Network show called The 4400, where he was a very good character in that. Ever since then, everything I've seen in that guy, I've seen that guy in has been really good.
Well, yeah. So Doctor Strange, I read that it could the Scarlet Witch could be the villain.
Well, they could all be the villains because there's going to be Sinister Strange. There will be Evil Wanda. I mean, you can make the argument that our Wanda's the evil Wanda, so maybe the variant will be a good Wanda.
Yeah, maybe.
Good point.
In a perfect world, she'll be the Wanda that George Perez envisioned as his belly dancer wife's costume. I always thought that was very cool. I read that somewhere, that I guess at one point in her life, George Perez's wife was a belly dancer.
Right.
And he designed one of the costumes, I guess, when he did Avengers with Kurt Busiek, on one of her costumes. On one of her.
Yeah.
You know,
that's the one from that late 90s run. That's my favorite Scarlet Witch costume, actually. I absolutely love it.
All right, so ask about
the Daredevil book. It's cool.
All right, we'll do that one next then. Daredevil number 25, second printing variant, signed by Frank Miller, and we have one available at $299.99. So that is the Daredevil book of the night. Wait, is that the one? Yeah. Hold on. Yep, that's the one. All right.
I wonder what Frank thinks about Elektra becoming Daredevil for this space. I bet he's down for it. I bet he thinks it's super cool to see her get some recognition, right? They're about to do an Elektra 100. So I wish they could have gotten a Frank piece in that.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I'm excited about that movie coming out. I can't wait to see it. So, all right.
And to address John's question, Wesley Snipes in the new movie, you know what? I tend to go 50-50 on these things, right? Because, sometimes I'll tell you, just I guess it was last week, right before wrestling started, the Starsky and Hutch movie was on. And they had, the remake, right?
The remake?
And they had the kind of, they had the original Starsky and Hutch make a brief appearance. And it was kind of cool. I don't know how much it added to the movie. I think in superhero movies, comic book movies, it would be much cooler. So, yeah, I would absolutely love to see a kind of brief Wesley Snipes sort of, appearance, a cameo, I guess.
What I want is in Doctor Strange, I want Wesley Snipes to be like an old, 1,000-year-old version of Blade as part of the Illuminati.
That would be cool.
As part of the Illuminati. That would be super cool.
So, low hit, we did not have anything Dynamite tonight, but we will definitely have something on Wednesday. So let me make a note of that as well.
Well, we got the trade paperbacks.
From Dynamite?
We do. We have to trade paperbacks, don't we? We have Mark Waid's. So you know what? We'll recap that. Mark Waid's The Green Hornet Volume 1 Bully Pulpit trade paperback. We have one available at $19.99. All right. And then, so that is available tonight. It is unsigned. Just, I know Ron asked that question earlier. And then we have Barbarella Volume 1 Red Hot Gospel trade paperback. We have one available for $17.99. And JD says Wesley Snipes might be kind of pissed they didn't hire him to play Blade in the new movie.
Wesley Snipes is I'll be pushing 60.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to be doing that.
I don't
around
think he
anymore.
wants to be doing that. I really like the idea of him being an old Blade in the Illuminati. They bring him on board to sort of, we'll say, deal with the vampire problems of the various of the Marvel multiverse.
Right.
Like the supernatural guy. Well, like the idea, like the Illuminati in the comics, they're people that everybody that was reading the comics, they knew, and the idea that they would all be together. And this one, you got to think about the last Spider-Man movie, think about this upcoming Flashpoint movie. They're dipping into this nostalgia by having people come back to reprise their old roles. What better than for the Illuminati to have the people from the Fox movies and the universe, like Eric Bana as Hulk, let him be one of them, like Patrick Stewart, that's how you populate the Illuminati for the MCU is bring in the other.
I would have thought an obvious one, and I don't know if we're going to see it or not. I would think an obvious one would be a Hugh Jackman cameo because, you know what I mean? You've got the X-Men that are going to be rejoining the Marvel, Marvel Studios of MCU. I think a very sort of brief, appearance because if we're going to see Professor X, obviously everybody heard Patrick Stewart's voice. I think it wouldn't be super crazy to have Hugh Jackman do a brief cameo as Old Man Logan. I don't think. One of the things I read was the Illuminati in the original, Marvel universe was just sort of the secret group of the high-level characters. The new reiteration of the Illuminati is probably going to be from different universes.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? I kind of can see where they're still constantly talking about a Tom Cruise cameo as Iron Man. There's like a lot of crazy stuff going on there. I mean, I could certainly. Tom Cruise likes to do weird stuff. He likes to bomb into weird stuff. So I'm not going to say it's impossible.
Tropic Thunder, for instance,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
I think it would be much more likely to see Hugh Jackman do like a quick sort of standing behind Professor X while they're having a meeting at the, you know what I mean? I think that's sort of a little bit more realistic.
That would be cool. And I also expect a Mr. Fantastic, whether it's the guy who did it in the 2005 movie, or they may go ahead and put the, John Krasinski in there, like the rumors were saying. So
I would, you know what? There was a time where I really liked the idea of John Krasinski and his wife. I can't think of her name right now. Being Emily Blunt being the Invisible Woman and Mr. Fantastic. I read multiple times she's not into that. She urges him to go ahead, but she is not into doing like the superhero movies. Apparently she was in a movie like The Replacement Bureau like 10 years ago with Matt Damon, and it was just tough. She had trouble sort of connecting with the fictionality of it, which is weird because she doesn't seem to have that problem now with The Quiet Place.
All right, so Ron wants to see if we have any more slabs. So let's do the last slab of the night. We got Hulk #1, Peach Momoko variant, CGC graded, guaranteed 9.8, suggested retail of $89.99, and we have the one available for $62.19.
That's a Momoko cover I absolutely adore. I love this cover so much. Makes me think of like a children's book, right?
So 62 Lefty said Emily Blunt was supposed to be Black Widow, but she I guess she couldn't fit it into her schedule.
I've read that too.
Yeah, she was originally cast or something. But the biggest thing with her, right? She does the Quiet Place movies, which are directed by Krasinski, which is her husband, right?
And
I think she just doesn't want to work with him. You want to keep the marriage good. Don't work with your husband too long.
I agree with that. Although in A Quiet Place, from what I understand, they produced that movie as well. That's like a nice windfall for them. So I could totally see her,
all right,
making an exception to that rule, saying, "Hey, look,
So next book,
gas is $17 a gallon. We got to do Quiet Place 3."
All right,
and that's very much children's book. That whole cover. Let's be honest, that's such a stark contrast to what you usually see in Hulk covers, right? Usually Hulk is raging because he's the Hulk. He's always facing some kind of horrific monster or opponent or another superhero. He's got Thor's hammer in his face. This is just a sort of very different look for the Hulk. And I dig that. That's very cool.
All right, so next up we have Amazing Spider-Man #1, Dynamic Forces Ultra Rare cover signed by cover artists Terry and Rachel Dodson, and we have one available for $39.99.
Great cover.
That's a nice cover, man.
That is a nice cover. Let's see, and we did that one. Okay, but I don't know. I mean. The thing you guys are talking about, the nostalgia factor, and maybe that's why board games are coming back and things like that. But I just hope they start to expand into new areas. I kind of feel like they're constantly drawing a circle in terms of storylines, and they're trying to use, John Spilios. Okay, buddy, gotcha. I feel like they're kind of using.
That's such a great cover, man.
It is a great cover. You kind of feel like they're just kind of revisiting the same old formula. Stevie B. Yeah, how about Tom Brady as the Phoenix or Wonder Man in the MCU?
You know what? You guys mean that as a joke, but Tom Brady would not be terrible as Wonder Man because he has that sort of.
Well, Tom Brady can't be Wonder Man. He's unretired.
I know we haven't even gotten to sports ball talk yet, but honestly, Rex, I'm already tired of this. We're going to have to go through this for like 3 to 4 years, probably, of him retiring and coming back, retiring, coming back.
You realize the MLB lockout lasted longer than Brady's retirement?
You know what my favorite thing is about Tom Brady?
John Spilios is happy.
Everybody hates Brady, so I love it. It's just like pro wrestling. I always love the heel. I hate this guy. Good.
I don't hate Brady. I mean, I'm
the problem is that Brady's not the heel. Brady's the baby face. He's the face. That's the problem. You always want to hate the face.
Listen, if you can continue playing as long as he's played in the NFL, God bless you. I mean, but but now you're acting like a professional boxer. I'm retired. No, I'm not retired. It's like it's why did you do it in the first place? I mean, you put the Bucs in a real kind of precarious position because now all of a sudden they were out there hunting for a quarterback, but they probably knew more than we did. So, okay, Nico Little Dragon.
They should be hunting for a quarterback anyway because if their quarterback is 44, 3.
I think what's going on with it.
Amazing Spider-Man #1. Nico has been taken by John Spilio's brother. The one signed by Terry and Rachel Dotson. You are the winner on Symbiote Spider-Man #1, however. So that one is yours, just so you know.
Tom is just trying to be like, if I'm going to be the GOAT, I got to mimic the other GOAT and retire and then come back.
Come back. Yeah. They always do it.
But why put everybody?
That's what Jay-Z did, right? That's why Jay-Z did it. So
why put your family through that? I'm sure Giselle was all ready to move on, and now he's
probably knew from the beginning, Rex, that it was all
that
bogus.
Took a work. That was that retirement was a work.
Like John says, this is all kayfabe, man. This is all like made up. Exactly, it's wrestling.
Right. There's no way that his wife. I mean, I understand, like from a business perspective, there's no way he said to his wife, "I'm retiring," unless it was one of these deals where he retired. He spent a week with the wife and kids and went. No.
Now here's an interesting point, right? The guy who bought Tom Brady's last touchdown football at auction,
like $500,000 for it or something.
He did. So that guy's all jammed up because clearly it is not going to be the last touchdown, of his career. So that guy just paid $500,000 of nothing.
What do we tell people here all the time? Buy what you love. Don't buy for financial investment. And this is a good example of that. That guy wanted that football because he was a Tom Brady fan. If he bought it for an investment, shame on him.
There is no way that a guy pays $500,000. I don't care what he bought it for.
Yeah, I'm just a fan of Tom Brady.
You know what? I'm not going to retire.
If you're a fan of Tom Brady, you use that money and buy an afternoon of his time and go hang out with him and have a conversation at lunch, right? He like when Todd McFarlane got the Mark McGuire ball. And then a couple of years later, he's like, "Well, I guess I better buy the Barry Bonds one now."
Yeah, but that's different. I mean, I'm saying though, but that is different. Okay,
$500,000 is going to sit with Todd McFarlane in the owner box of his hockey team.
But Bonds breaking McGuire's record is a completely different scenario. Okay,
no, I get it.
For him to like unretire in a matter of weeks. Okay, after that ball's been sold. That's kind of messed up. Todd McFarlane did buy McGuire's home run balls. That is correct.
He has some of the Sosa ones too, didn't he? Took him on tour or something.
There was a lot of I was in the industry during those days, and there was a umpire that was signing certificates of authenticity on those balls, and there was some controversy over that. To be honest with you.
Well, and the cool thing though is about. Todd may obviously be specking on home run balls or whatever, but he is, of course, a through and through baseball fan. He got to college on a baseball scholarship, so it's not out of the norm.
Not only that, but he also, he also had the MLB license for years on the action figures, the MLB action figures.
Yeah, he really stepped it up from the starting lineups, didn't he? Holy cow!
Yeah, starting lineups. That's right.
We also had Dave mention something very cool. I don't know if you saw it about Peach Momoko and that Hulk cover when we throw it up there for. Did somebody buy that already?
I don't believe so.
I was going to say Dave brings up a very cool point about he interviewed Peach and she talked about how it's up there on the screen how that Hulk cover is closer to original style. And who was it? I guess it was Robbie who said it was almost like a children's book. Yeah. I think that's very cool. I mean, we're all sort of used to Scotty Young, not to minimize him, but we're all used to it, right? We've all seen the super cute Cap, the super cute Punisher, the super cute Deadpool. This is sort of a different kind of we're making it children, but like in a different vibe.
Hold that thought.
It's got a charm to it.
7:31, so we got to take our last and final
break. Somebody get on this Hulk cover.
So stay with us, and we'll come back and start with the Hulk cover again.
To be continued. 3 little words that hold the secret to the next great story. 3 words that will thrill you, confound you, give life to new possibilities. Every variation of To Be Continued is a promise of adventure, a promise of excitement, a promise of unseen wonders and unexplored worlds. A promise that every issue you read makes you a part of a never-ending journey, and behind every page there will be an unopened door waiting for you. This story to be continued at your local comic book shop today. Visit comicshoplocator.com today.
We're back for the final time tonight.
All right. So I
Here
know
with Robbie.
we have to run the contest. And tonight, JD, I think that Amy posted up the photo of the card. It is a talking about Deja Thoris. I believe this is a Deja Thoris sketch card. This is Red Sonja.
This is Red Sonja sketch card.
Women of Dynamite sketch card. Let's see. April Reina. And let's see. And it is modeled after a cosplayer, Jetty Monday, I believe. There it is.
You can find her on Instagram.
So that is the prize. Okay, so everybody understands how the contest works. We do Robbie's show. I'm on Robbie's show every Friday afternoon, evening. And if you post something, doesn't matter what you post in the chats, you are automatically entered to win the prize. Then anybody who is posted in the chat today for Monday's show will do the drawing on Robbie's show on Friday, and that'll be the winner there. So anybody that enters anything into the chats will be eligible to win the contest. And it's something we try to make it something different every week. So
yeah, it's always a fun time. It's a great topic of conversation we usually pick. I got a good one for this week. Something that we've all been talking about for the last few days. So it's going to be fun.
You've been coming up with some pretty good topics. I got to give you credit there, buddy.
Well, thank you, man. I really So we're drawing this contest from the last Friday's video in which we talk about, are these the best horror movies? Rex had a list for
Stevie B.
Yeah, right. Just for Stevie B and everybody else as well. Of course, I love horror films. Rex had a list of the 30 best horror films from Games Radar, and I wasn't very impressed with most of the lists. So if you commented on that video, you're in this contest. I'm spinning the wheel of ridiculousness and randomization, and it's Eric Froschneider.
Nice.
Eric. All right.
And he says the best horror movie of all time is tuning in to watch a horror movie discussion, and then you talk about baseball for over 10 minutes.
All right. You'll send me your info when you get it, and we'll get this prize out to him. But all right, let's go to the next book. We've got Batman 3 Jokers #1, cover A, signed by Jeff Johns. Suggested retail of $69.99. We have one available tonight for $39.99.
Did you forget to turn the books around on the break? You get scolded by Ron.
Yeah, I did. Oh, well.
Ron is like a checklist now. I want this, I want that, turn the books around.
So let's see. Lars Man, because we have CD Lamb. John Spilios questions.
Give that man a no prize. Add some Marvel callback. The no prize.
No prize. Wait, which man? Let's see. Cooper. Oh, yeah, that's right. Amari Cooper got traded away.
Yes, Spilio. I would just refer to Larsman because he's pretty much saying what I think. Right now, CD has the most yards post catch. He's really good at that. And Cooper was very inconsistent for the Cowboys. But I'm sure he'll do fine for Cleveland. But something about Dallas, man, he was very inconsistent from the get-go.
It's just, I think it's mentally a hard place to play. You know what I mean? I just get the impression, because he's not the only person who's gone to Dallas, not had a great run there, and then moves on somewhere else. I mean, it's not like he's the only player that's happened to.
Well, the crazy thing is that he was really good at home, but he would be terrible on the road, which was ridiculously crazy when you think about it.
I hate to say this, but I mean, it takes two ends for a wide receiver, and when your quarterback is inconsistent, you're going to have days like that. And I give CeeDee Lamb all the credit in the world. You know, his yards after catch are phenomenal. You know, the guy can create. I think Amari was just getting older towards the end of his career, wasn't able to make much after. But if you can't put the ball on the target as a QB, there's only so much he can do.
Yeah, and the Cowboys really needed to free up some cap space, man. They really needed to free up some.
I agree with that. I don't disagree with the trade. So where Rubenstein is asking if Three Jokers is a good read.
I would say so. I really like the book. I think it's got amazing artwork from Jason Fabic. Or Fabic, however you pronounce it. And the artwork's amazing, and it's a really cool story. I'm not a big Jason Todd Red Hood fan, but this actually made me appreciate that character a little bit more. So I liked what Jeff Johns did with the story, and I really love the artwork. I thought it was a super solid book. Makes for a great graphic novel read in particular, too.
Well, it reminds me a little bit of what Jeff Johns did with Sinestro. I mean, let's be honest. Sinestro, for a large part, has not, he was kind of like a throwaway character, had a few good appearances. Jeff Johns decides to start, expanding the Green Lantern universe, Spectrum War, and all these other things. Next thing you know, Sinestro becomes this fully fleshed out character, and you're like, this guy's amazing. He gets his own book. And I think that's, I don't want to say that's necessarily Jeff Johns' gimmick, but it's definitely one of his moves for sure.
So there you go. Where Rubenstein, you got the two authorities on this. So they're saying thumbs up, good read. So let us know if you're interested. But let's see. All right, we got 3 more books to go, so we might as well knock those out. So next up, we have Superman Year One, number 1, Elite Gold Signature Series by John Romita Jr. Suggested retail of $99.99, and we have one available for $75. And looks like there were only 30 signed, and I think this is number 29 of 30. John Stout says he really liked it. And Dave says Three Jokers has amazing artwork and a forgettable story. And did he say amazing artwork?
Yeah, it's got great artwork. Speaking of great artwork, I'm a huge Romita Jr. fan. He's going to be at Heroes Con this year, so I'm super excited to meet him. I didn't necessarily like Superman Year One when it was all said and done, but I did like the first 2 issues decently enough. But this is, I know it's not going to be to everybody's necessarily their taste, but I think this is one of my favorite Romita covers. I don't know. There's something about Danny Mickey's inking. It's a more slender, less boxy figure, and I really like that. A very youthful Superman looking too. I like that.
I was going to say he almost looks more like Superboy than Superman.
I would agree. Yeah,
it's a bit more like Brandon Ruth, right, from Superman Return.
Yeah, well, it's Superman Year One, so you can make the argument. He's 1 year past Superboy.
So JD says John should really trademark the phrase, "Hey, let's be honest." No, John should really trademark. No disrespect to fill in the blank. Okay,
that too.
All right, so next book up, we got Avengers X-Men Axis number 1, Dynamic Forces exclusive gold signature edition signed by Adam Kubert. Suggested retail of $89.99, and we have one available for $63 tonight.
Not to play favorites, but my favorite of the Kubert brothers was Adam. So even though one time at a con in Chicago, he bought a Galactus action figure out from under me, but it's okay. Those things happen.
Yeah, I'm glad you're over it, buddy.
Yeah, me too.
You think when he shows that figure to people, he's like, I bought this right out from under Robbie. They're going to sell it to him, or they're going to sell it to Comic Book Royalty?
I doubt it. I bet he was like, I got this book coming up. I'm going to need some reference for Galactus. I got this. I have the same toy now. I bought it years later, so it's okay.
So what is the movie tonight that you're going to review?
Well, we're in the middle of March Madness right now, so it's a little bit of a horror fest throughout March where we like to talk about movies with mad science and madness and things like that. Last week we did Manhunter, and tonight we're doing From Beyond, based on the H.P. Lovecraft short story directed by Stuart Gordon, one of my slam bang favorite fantastic movies from the 80s. This movie is awesome. If you've never seen it, it's on Tubi. Check it out. But at 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern, join us over at PCP Movie Night. We're going to be talking about From Beyond, unpacking it, all of its wildness.
Nice.
It's like the first time we get, I think, Jeffrey Combs, if I remember, is in that movie. And I
He
remember
is.
I mean, Jeffrey Combs is, you see that guy, he does a lot of voice work. He appeared in a lot of stuff. That's the
Star
first
Trek.
time I see very young in that movie.
Yeah, it's right after Reanimator. So, Reanimator was like his big breakout. It's the exact same team, writer, producer, director, actors.
I was
It's
just
the
going to
same
ask
team.
you that if that was, I wasn't sure if it was or not. But
So John Spilios, fun fact, his mom used to clean the Cubert's house in Dover, New Jersey, where Adam was a kid. That is interesting.
How cool.
But you know what? Earlier in the show, when we were talking about William Hurt passing and all that, and I forget who it was, maybe it was Stevie B, but I forget who it was, brought up Altered States. That I can't believe didn't show up on the 30 top horrors. I mean, would you consider that really a horror genre? I mean,
to me, that's more science fiction.
It's like in the blend of it though. So it's like it's presenting horrific things. I think it counts enough that you can consider it horror, as in the same way that you can consider Beetlejuice or Gremlins horror. It's something else, but it's got those elements. But I'll tell you what, if there's a movie that's like to get kids not to want to take drugs, it's Altered States, right? You're like, okay,
Right?
I'm staying away from all of that, man.
The one scene with the peyote and all that good stuff.
I don't partake if it's going to turn me into a Neanderthal.
Well, that movie was the first experience, the first time I ever learned about the isolation tank. Okay, the sensory deprivation tank. I had never heard of it before, and that was the first movie where it introduced me to the concept. I think most people. I don't think most of us knew.
There's a scene in that movie where Hurt's character is transformed. It's night and he's running down the street, and I'm not quite sure if it's raining or not, but there's just this really, it's like a long shot, very forward.
Yes, I kind of remember.
Every time I travel to a city that I don't know, I'm out at night and I'll see the street at night, I think of that scene from the show, and almost nobody remembers it. I'm like, oh, this almost reminds me like Altered State. When I hear, like, what are you talking about?
You know what, Robbie? It just dawned on me. There was another movie that was left off the list.
What's that?
The Fly.
Oh yeah, you're right, 100%. The remake.
Yeah, not the Vincent Price one. Although that one was good too.
Yeah, the Cronenberg one.
Limitations of the time, but the Jeff Goldblum one. That was really scary. I remember.
It's a shame. It's shameful that there wasn't any Cronenberg on that list. The Brood, Scanners, The Fly. Like, these are movies that are like great. They're gnarly. They're gross, and it's body horror. And that's why Altered States, I think, still counts as horror, even though it is sci-fi, because it deals with body horror, right? With the changing of the body and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, well, that kind of we kind of touched on that on Friday with Alien. Horror, sci-fi, both. And I like
Jekyll and Hyde. Well, is it horror or is it science fiction?
That's another interesting question.
I mean, you're sort of using Robbie's thing. There's definitely body horror for sure. I mean, he literally transforms into someone else, but he does it through science. He doesn't do it through like a curse or a spell or something. So,
well, if you go that route, then you can say Frankenstein. Is it sci-fi or is it horror?
It's both. I mean, it's sci-fi horror, man.
Yeah, exactly.
It's both.
And I have to say that Aliens, all right. The rest of them kind of got.
Aliens is more science fiction. I think
yes,
Alien
I agree.
Tends to be more
but I thought that was really amazing how they did a hard pivot that way.
Yeah.
Okay, because Alien, I remember it was the dark tunnels and being on a radio trying to raise somebody and you don't hear anything. It made such great use of that suspense, and then they made a hard pivot with Aliens, where it became more science fiction, more What's the movie?
Sci-fi action, right? It's more like sci-fi action.
I'm thinking of
Starship Troopers.
Starship Troopers. Yes.
You shoot anything with more than 2 legs.
I mean, again, that's horrific, but it was sci-fi. So
when you're making a sequel to Alien, which was such a tentpole film, like such an important film. How do we improve on this? More aliens. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
and when they tried to scale it back for Alien 3, even though I do like Alien 3, it didn't work as well. Alien 3 would be better with more than one alien. I'm telling you, it'd be a different vibe for people. I'm just going to tell you that. But
I agree. They should have stopped at aliens. Starship Troopers was a great movie, and they should have stopped right there. When they started to get those sequels out, those were horrible. I mean, the original was just so tongue-in-cheek. It was such a great movie, but it was kind of horrific as well.
Here's an interesting thing with Alien. Ridley Scott said one of the things that influenced him when he made Alien was, I think the name of the movie is It Came from Outer Space. He talked about watching it in like a coin. I think he called it a coin theater. We call it like a dollar theater. You pay $1, you watch movies all day. That was a thing back in like the 50s and 60s. And he talked about how that movie it was an influence on him because the idea that you're trapped, and it's what Derleth calls Lovecraftian's affinity for isolation terror. No one's coming. No one's coming to help you. There's no, you know what I mean? You are alone with, and that's why I think when you look at some of Lovecraft's stuff, Mountains of Madness and some of the other things where, you're at the top of the world. You're at the bottom of the world. No one's coming to help you against this.
I've never seen this movie, and I'm looking it up. It's got Richard Carlson in it. It's got Barbara Brush. It's got Russell Johnson, the professor. This movie looks awesome. I got to watch this. 53.
It's the movie I'm thinking of. I know a lot of these 50s movies had similar names, but the deal is they go to Mars and something went wrong and there's only one guy left and everybody else was murdered. So they assume the only astronaut left was the murderer. So a second ship goes out to get it. You're under arrest.
This one says it's about a crater. So like there's some kind of meteor crash or something, and it's an alien spaceship, and it starts taking over the townsfolk disappear, and they're replaced by alien duplicates. Kind of like Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
I just looked it up. The one I was talking about is called The Terror from Beyond Space.
All right, I'm going to throw up the last book while you guys try to figure out which one it is.
Why are you interrupting us with comics when we're talking about movies?
Go ahead. Either way, both of those movies seem really awesome, so I have to check that out.
So, last book of the night, Legion of Superheroes #1, signed by Ryan Sook. We have one available at $29.99, and you got less than 5 minutes probably with the time lag on the best offer items.
And I want to throw something out there.
How about a recap?
Last week or 2 weeks ago, I kind of bagged a little bit on Brian Michael Bendis. I kind of prefaced, no offense, there is plenty of offense there. Conversely, as horrible a job as Bendis did writing Legion, Ryan Sook, Legion, I don't know, has ever looked that good. There's like an old Legion poster that Mike Grell did for a magazine in the 80s. And to me, that's about the best the Legion has ever looked, with the exception of Alex Ross doing that giant thing for Comic-Con, which is like 40 feet high. But Ryan Sook just does this amazing job with these characters. And he has to write around, arguably, wonky writing of the characters. So I just have a tremendous amount of respect for that guy as a writer. That particular issue, they were trying to squeeze the John Kent Superboy into Superboy and Legion of the Superheroes because back in the 70s and 80s, that was the way it was. And it was clumsy. It wasn't great. Ron Jones played the Thing in The Thing from Outer Space, which the John Carpenter Thing was based on decades later.
All right, so the two best offer books are Civil War #1, signed by Charles Soule, and cover sketch art of Captain America by Ken Hazer. And currently, let's see, John Spilios is in the lead at 30. And then the other best offer item of the night was Gunslinger Spawn #1, variant cover by Todd McFarlane, graded 9, guaranteed 9.8. And I believe Ron is in the lead at 90. So just making sure everybody knows that. Yeah, I like those horror movies that don't have to depend on too much gore. Making use of the frame, the shot, the suspense, that kind of thing. And I think that, nothing wrong with having some gore, but
what if you have it all though, Rex? What if you have great cinematography, beautiful atmosphere, amazing mood and tone, great music, great performance, and just bucket loads of gore? Those are my favorites.
Sometimes I think if there's too much gore, you get desensitized to it. That's the way I see it. I think the magic of Alien, it was just enough gore. The alien popping out of John Hurt's stomach. It's like, ugh, right?
I agree. I like the more subtle. I like
Starship Trooper was a little too much gore. I enjoyed it. Because I'm a sci-fi.
You want to live forever?
Well, that's going for a certain. They're different experiences. Right?
Yeah.
If I watch Chopping Mall, and I don't watch Chopping Mall when I'm in the mood to watch Alien, and I don't watch Alien when I'm in the mood to watch Chopping Mall. You know what I'm saying? So,
and a great example of sci-fi and horror is Event Horizon, Lovecraftian overtones.
Yes. Who was in that?
Sam Neill.
Who else was in that? Event Horizon.
Well, it's a John Carpenter film.
That's right.
I love that movie.
Yeah, that was a good movie as well. So I mean, it's just when it's too gory, I feel like you're just using it to try to shock people, and eventually people just get desensitized to it. They don't react to it.
There's something to be said leaving a little bit for the imagination, and they used to do that back in the old days. It would be a shot from the door, and you and I would be looking in the door, and we'd be because we'd seen something horrific. And generally speaking, whatever the audience imagined at the time would be worse than what we could actually do with practical effects or whatever. Now, digitally and with bigger budgets, it's a different story.
Yeah. Obviously, you can do more. I mean, I would agree with that as well.
But back in the day, and then they would cut the scene or, go to a commercial if it was, an early 50s TV show. I found a YouTube channel that had a bunch of telefilms from like the late 50s and early 60s, different Playhouse stuff. And they used really clever cinematography and basic tricks of making movies and TV to really get a lot of mileage out of not a lot of money and time.
So here's another movie, Predator. All right, Nico, you're at 31 for the. Oh, you know what? Actually, I'm sorry, buddy. That came in after the end line there.
Yeah.
So just a second too late, my friend. But yeah, like Predator. Horror, sci-fi, a little bit about both.
Sci-fi, action, horror. Horror's on the low end there, I think.
Yeah, I guess.
It's a creature movie, though, right? It's a creature feature in a way. It's just that late 80s action. Like, that's what I love it. That's why I love genre being something that people can play with, not something that's like a rigid structure for them to adhere to. Do you know what I'm saying?
So Dwayne's a pain says Tremors.
Tremors is a monster movie, and I have zero problems with that. But you really can't divide. Tremors is a great example of how you can't divide things into just horror and sci-fi. It's like a spectrum. It's not like one or the other, right? Like here's a graph, right? And on this side would be horror, this side would be sci-fi.
And fantasy's really right in the middle, right? Fantasy right in the middle.
Because,
Ron Shepard brings up Phantasm.
Oh,
Phantasm is just fun.
Yeah, I agree.
One of my favorites.
If you went to cons in the 90s, you met some of the people that made those movies. And I got to tell you,
one movie I just bored, and I'm sitting there, I'm going through all the infinite number of subscriptions I have.
There's an app that will let you know what you have now.
Oh, that would be way too complicated. Is Pacific Rim. That movie had so much potential, in my opinion, and they messed it up.
I love that movie. It's a giant robot.
I know, but just
fighting a monster.
There was so much more they could have done with it, and I just felt like they left so much on the table with that movie that it came out.
They did a sequel.
Yeah, I know. That was even worse.
And then there's an animated thing too, I think.
And then I recently resaw again one of the streaming channels, Battleship. Oh my God, that was bad. That was bad. Rihanna, I'm a big fan of hers.
I never even watched that movie. I know it's bad. Come on, man.
Oh, it was pretty brutal. And
it's a TNT Instant Classic.
TNT Instant Classic.
It's on right before wrestling. Come on, man.
So 62 left. You watch. What do you want me to watch again? Are you talking Pacific Rim or are you talking
Battleship?
Battleship. because the first time I saw Battleship, all right, so we haven't been there in years now because of the pandemic, but my daughter and I used to visit my parents over in Taiwan. So that's like a 16-hour flight, right? So you sit there and you can sleep, you eat, whatever. I read a few books, and then you watch movies. And first time I saw Pacific Rim, I was a captive audience. There was nowhere to go, nothing to do.
It's Lovecraft's isolation terror. There's nowhere to go.
And I remember sitting there with my earphones on, my daughter's snoozing, and I'm like watching it, and I'm like, man, this is bad. And I am far more accepting. Okay, Battleship, same thing. I saw
like
that
Pacific Rim, by the way. That's a good movie.
Like you're there 16 hours. It's my chance to catch up on movies, right? And when you're in a captive cigar tube for 16 hours and you walk away going, well, I could have spent my time better. Okay. It was bad. I mean, 62 Lefty, I'll watch it again. I will.
You should watch it again. That's a Guillermo del Toro movie. That's a good movie.
Do
you like stuff like Neon Genesis? Do you like Neon Genesis, Evangelion, and stuff like that? Like people piloting big robots? Do you like that stuff?
Wait, say that again?
It's very Gundam.
Do you like stuff like where people are piloting giant mechs? Like Evangelion or
of course.
Yeah.
Did you not mean Shogun Warriors as a child?
Dude, Transformers, Shogun Warriors, I love them all. So that's my point. Is
Radine, Vanguard Ace. Am I the only one that remembers?
So
dude,
that's
when that robot pulls out that sword in that movie, I jumped up in my seat. I was so damn excited.
All right, it looks like it's 7:59. I want to thank everybody as always to our viewers out there for spending the night with us. We appreciate it.
Thank Robbie for joining us.
Robbie, as always,
thank you. Channel.
Thank you, brother. Check out his YouTube channel tonight. He's doing movie reviews as always. I thank my buddy John here, even though he didn't bring me any food tonight. And
so lightheaded.
We will be back Wednesday with Alec from AR Comics.
More slabs, more signed books.
6 to 8 p.m. Eastern time. And then Nick will be back on Fridays for his original art show from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Robbie, I'll see you Friday for your show, buddy.
You know it, bro.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a great night.